All right, so we want to combine like terms, want all of our variables together on the same side. So I'm going to subtract 6r from each side. Okay, that gives us 7 equals 13 plus r. And then we will subtract 13 from each side. That gives us negative 6 equals r. And then number 2, we are going to again get all of our variables together on the same side. We will add 4x to each side. That gives us 13 equals 1 plus 3x. And then we subtract 1 from each side to get 12 equals 3x. Then divide each side by 3 to get 4. So x equals 4. Number 3, we want to get all of our x's together on the same side. On the left side, we actually need to combine like terms first. So simplify before we solve. Negative 7x minus 3x is negative 10x. Bring down the plus 2 equals negative 8x minus 8. And then again, you can either add 10x to each side or add 8x to each side. Since I want to go ahead and make my variable positive, I'll add the 10x to each side. This gives me 2 equals 2x minus 8, and then add 8 to each side, and then I'm out of space there, so 2 plus 8 is 10, so 10 equals 2x, and then divide each side by 2 to get x equals 5. Then number 4, we want to get all the x's together. This has 2 x terms on the right side, so I'll combine like terms there first. X minus 4x is negative 3x. Bring down the negative 8 minus x. Then I will add 3x to each side. And I'm doing this intentionally because if you have nothing left over there, I want you to understand that that's going to be 0. So negative 3x plus x would give you 0. Over here on the left-hand side, bring down the negative 8. Negative x plus 3x is a positive 2x. So negative 8 plus 2x equals 0. And then we're going to add 8 to each side. This gives us 2x equals 8. Then divide each side by 2 to get x equals 4. Okay, number 5, we need to, that's a pretty complex problem for number 5. So we have a lot of simplifying to do first on the left side before we start solving. So let's look at our numbers. We have negative 14 and a positive 7. That's going to be negative 7. Okay, negative 14 plus 7 is negative 7. And then 6b minus 2b is 4b. So plus 4b. And then bring down the equals. Yeah, we got our numbers here, variables there, yes. Bring down the equal sign. And that leaves us with 1 plus 5b. On the right side, we didn't need to combine like terms. That was already simplified. So we needed to simplify the left side before we start solving. And then we can go ahead and combine like terms by getting our variables together on the same side. I'll subtract 4b from each side. This gives me negative 7 equals 1 plus b. And I want to copy this here so I have a little more room to work. Negative 7 equals 1 plus b. And then I will subtract 1 from each side. This gives me negative 8 equals b. And then number 6, we have n's on both sides, so we want to get those together. I'll add this n. That gives me n plus n is 2n. Okay, don't just go slashing through because you see two things that look the same. Do the operation. Okay, n plus n is 2n. Bring down the plus 2. Bring down the equals negative 14. Subtract 2 from each side. So that gives you 2n equals negative 16. Then you can divide each side by 2 to get n equals -8. Okay, questions so far? All right, number 7. Again, we need to simplify this left-hand side. N minus 3n is -2n. Then bring down the equals 14 minus 4n. I will add 4n to each side. And you could add 2n to each side as well. You just would have a negative there to work with. It works both ways equally as well. So -2n plus 4n is 2n. Bring down the equals, bring down the 14. 4n, -4n plus 4n is 0. So those cross cancel. And then divide each side by 2. That gives you n equals 7. Okay, number 8. 7a minus 3 equals 3 plus 6a. So we will subtract 6a from each side. This gives you a minus 3 equals 3. Then add 3 to each side to get a equals 6. Okay, number 9. So we can look at this one. Read that, number 9. Don't start solving it yet, just take a good look at it. So you should actually do that at every problem. Before you start solving, just take a look at it. So this tells us that 2x plus 5 or 5 plus 2x is equal to 2x plus 6. Okay, so we should know before we even start solving this is going to have no solution, because if I take 2x and increase it by 5, that's never going to be equal to taking 2x and increasing it by 6. They're not the same. Okay, so let's say that we just, started working off right away, and we didn't stop and think. This is no solution. Okay, that's our answer. But let's just say we didn't notice it right away. So what will that look like when we start solving it? Okay, so let's say we're taking a test, we didn't pause, we were trying to get it done. So this is what it would look like. You would try to combine like terms, okay, and you would subtract 2x from each side. Great. 2x minus 2x is 0. 2x minus 2x is 0. So then you end up with this. Bring down the 5. Bring down 5 plus 0 is 5. Bring down the equals. -2x plus 2x is 0. 0 plus 6 is 6. So we end up with this statement, 5 equals 6. Well, 5 never equals 6. That's never true, okay, which means we have no solution. So our answer is no solution. There is no answer. This will never be true, okay? 2x plus 6 is not equal to 2x plus 5, period. Okay, number 10. The left side, we need to combine like terms. -10 plus 4 is -6. -6 minus 5 is -11. So we have -11 plus x. Bring down the equal sign. 7x minus 5. So we'll subtract x from each side to get all of our x's together on the same side of the equal sign. This gives us -11 equals 7x minus x is 6x. And then bring down the minus 5. So -11 equals 6x minus 5. I just copied that line over so we have a little more room. Add 5 to each side to get all of the numbers on the same side. That order of operations in reverse there, or combined like terms actually. Okay, -11 plus 5 is -6. Bring down the equals, bring down the positive 6. Okay, we don't care what 6x equals, we care what x equals. So we divide each side by 6 to cancel this out. 6 divided by 6 is 1. So we have 1x equals -6 divided by 6 is -1. So x equals -1. Okay, number 11. We have the distributive property here. So in order to simplify we can't solve yet. We need to simplify the left-hand side. We need to distribute this positive 4 over the quantity 1 plus 5n. Okay, so first, let's bring down our negative 8n. Then we will distribute the 4. 4 times 1 is 4, so plus 4. 4 times positive 5n is positive 20n. Bring down the equals. Then we have negative 6n minus 14. Okay. Let's simplify the left-hand side. This is 20n minus 8n. 20n minus 8n is 12n. So we have 12n. Bring down the plus 4 equals negative 6n minus 14. I'm going to add 6n to each side. And then I'll write my answer up here. So 12n plus 6n is 18n. Bring down the plus 4 equals, and then negative 6n plus 6n will cancel out, and then bring down the negative 14. Okay, then we want to subtract 4 from each side. Bring down the 18n. Positive 4 minus 4 is 0. Bring down the equals. Negative 14 minus 4 is negative 18. We're already at negative 14, and then we take away 4 more. That puts us at negative 18. And then I don't care what 18n equals. I care what n equals. So I divide each side by 18, and I got n equals negative 1. Okay, number 12. I need to distribute the 4. So I end up with negative 6n. I'm going to zoom in a little bit because I have to write tiny here. You can write on lined paper if you prefer, if you want more space. Negative 6n, and it's okay if part of your work is on the worksheet and part of your work is on the lined paper. Okay, I know some teachers are really particular about that. I'm fine with it as long as you are numbering your problems, and I can just take a quick look and find all 20 of your problems. Okay, so if you got this far like I did and said, oh, it's time to switch to lined paper, go ahead. That's fine with me. Okay, so I'm going to bring down the negative 6n minus 20 equals negative 2n. Then I'll distribute the 4. 4 times 1 is 4, so plus 4. And then 4 times negative 3n is negative 12n. Okay, the left side is fine. I'm just going to leave that, bring it down. Bring down the equals. The right-hand side, I need to combine like terms. I have negative 2n and negative 12n. That's negative 14n. And then bring down the plus 4. Then I want all of my n's together, so I'm going to add 14n each side. Okay, this is a positive 14n minus 6n is 8n. Then bring down the minus 20, bring down the equals. 14n minus 14n is 0, and then bring down the 4. I still ran out of space, even though I was writing tiny. 8n minus 20 equals 4. I'm just going to copy that over. Add 20 to each side because we're doing the order of operations in reverse. That gives us 8n equals, that cross cancels, 24. Divide each side by 8. I don't care what 8n equals, I care what n equals. So this gives me n equals 3. Okay, 13, we need to distribute again. Okay, we need to distribute a positive 7. Be careful when you get to problems with the negative to distribute, because it's the most common mistake is that kids will distribute the negative to the first term, but they'll multiply the second term by a positive. Okay, so make sure it helps if you circle the thing that needs to be distributed, just looking ahead in case you're working ahead. So here we're distributing the 7. Okay, so we get 4n minus 40 equals and we're distributing a positive 7. So this is going to give us positive 7 times negative 2n is negative 14n. And 7 times 2 is 14, so plus 14. Then we're going to get all of our n's together. So we'll add 14n to each side. And this gives us 18n minus 40 equals 14. And then we'll add 40 to each side, that order of operations in reverse. So this gives us 18n. Negative 40 plus 40 is 0 equals 54. And let's see, these are both divisible by 9, 6 and 2. So you can cross cancel. 6 divided by 2 is 3. Okay, so you shouldn't have to break out your calculator for that. I didn't know that 18 went into both of those, but I did know that 9 went into both of those. So first I simplified the fraction by dividing by 9 to get 6 over 2, and then I divided that to get 3. These will be question types that you're not allowed to use a calculator on, so don't break out the calculator for these. Go ahead and use your arithmetic to solve these problems as you're working. You'll benefit from that when you're taking your SAT testing in 11th grade. And these are not skills that you develop overnight. You practice them over years. Okay, so don't break out your calculator. Force yourself to learn how to do these without a calculator, because you'll just become faster and faster and faster. And it's not going to happen overnight. Okay, 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade. Okay, and then you take your SAT your 11th grade year. So we're talking over the course of 4 years, but you have to do that consistently every day so that it just becomes second nature to you. Okay, and that's not going to happen if you're breaking out your calculator all the time. So do these things without a calculator, and then it just becomes more automatic as you go. So we taught you greatest common factor in 6th grade. We're still using it in 8th grade. You'll still use it in high school and college. Okay. For all levels of math. Okay, and eventually the numbers go away and they become variables. So make sure you are practicing that skill. So here we are distributing number 14, we're distributing a 7. Okay, so 7 times 5a is 35a. 7 times negative 4 is negative 28. Bring down the minus 1 equals 14 minus 8a. So we want to get I'll simplify this in the next step so I don't run out of space, but we want to add 8a to each side. So this gives us 43a, and then we have minus 28 minus 1, so that's minus 29, and equals 14. And then add 29 to each side. That gives us 43 equals, I am squeezing that in there, 43a. So 43a equals 43. Divide each side by 43. 43 divided by 43 is 1. So we have 1a equals 43 divided by 43 is 1. So a equals 1. Okay, 15. We need to distribute the negative. Okay, so bring down the negative 31 minus 4x equals negative 5, and we're distributing the negative 5 here. Negative 5 times 1 is negative 5. Negative 5 times negative 5x is negative 25x. All right, so then we can go ahead and combine like terms. On the left-hand side, there aren't any like terms to combine, but on the right-hand side, we have negative 5 and negative 5, or minus 5 and minus 5. So that'll give us negative 10. And just to save space on my paper, because it's getting really tight here, I'm going to go ahead and combine those right now and just erase. So negative 5 minus 5 is going to be negative 10. and then minus 25x. And then we want to get all of our x's together on the same side of the equal sign. So we can add 25x. Okay, this gives us negative 31 plus, and then we have negative 4x plus 25x, that's plus 21x. Bring down the equal sign, negative 10. And then we will add 31 to each side. And we'll write that over here. Negative 31 plus 31 is 0, leaving us with 0 plus 21x. So 21x equals, and then we have negative 10 plus 31, which is the same as 31 minus 10. So 31 minus 10 is 21. And then we divide each side by 21 to get x equals 1. Because 21 divided by 21 is 1. 16, we have 38 plus 7k equals, and we're going to distribute this 8. I'm going to draw the arrows underneath. So equals 8k plus 32. Subtract 7k from each side. This will give you 38 equals, we have 8k minus 7k is just k, plus 32. Subtract 32 from each side. 32 minus 32 is 0, leaving you with k equals, and then 38 minus 32 is 6. So k equals 6. Okay, 17, we need to distribute on both sides of the equal sign. So let's go ahead and do that. Eight x plus 16x minus 12 equals 24x plus 16 minus 4. And then on the left-hand side, 8x plus 16x is 24x minus 12 equals 24x plus 12. And I'm just double checking my math because I'm noticing this is probably a no solution, because 24x minus 12 would never equal 24x plus 12. So I'm noticing it's probably no solution, but I am just going to go back and double check. Okay. So I'm double checking my distributing. 16x minus 12, yes, equals 24x plus 16, correct. Combined like terms to get 12, and 24, yes. Okay, so I already know at this point that it's going to be no solution, because we know that 24x minus 12 will never be equal to 24x plus 12. But let's go ahead and do that next step in case you don't realize it at this point when you're doing your work. So what would happen next is you would try to get all of your x's together. So subtract 24x, subtract 24x. This gives you negative 12 equals 24x minus 24x is 0. So positive 12, negative 12 will never equal positive 12. That's an untrue statement. That's never true. Okay, or you can draw a slash through the equal sign is actually a more mathematically correct way to write that. So you would have your equal sign, which mine's a little sloppy, but and then you would draw a slash through your equal sign, and that slash goes top right to bottom left. And so this is, if it's never true, that means there is no solution. Okay, then okay, so then we are distributing number 18, we're distributing 3. So 3 distributed to 1 and minus 3x. So it's going to give us 3 minus 9x equals, and then we're distributing the 2. So equals negative 8x plus 14. We'll add 9x to each side. That will give us 3 equals 9x minus 9x cancels out. That gives us negative 8x plus 9 is x, and then bring down the plus 14. Subtract 14 from each side. That gives us, so 14 minus 3 is 11. So 3 minus 14 would be negative 11. And then equals x, because negative 14 plus 14 is 0. Number 19, we have the 4 that we're distributing. 4 times negative 8x is negative 32x. 4 times 5 is plus 20. Bring down the equals, negative 32x minus 26. And then we want to get all of our x's together, so let's add 32x to each side. This gives us 20 equals, we have, oops, I didn't copy that correctly. So add 32x to each side. This gives us 20 equals negative 32x plus 32x is 0. And then bring down the negative 26. And again, we have 20 equals negative 26. So that's never true, no solution. So our answer is no solution. And then number 20, we're distributing a negative 3. Negative 3 times x is negative 3x. Negative 3 times negative 1 is plus 3. Next, we're distributing a positive 8. And so we have 8 times x, that's plus 8x minus 24. Bring down the equals. On the right-hand side, let's go ahead and combine like terms. So 6x minus 5x is x. And then bring down the plus 7. On the left side, let's combine like terms. Negative 3x plus 8x is 5x. And then positive 3 minus 24 is negative 21x. Or excuse me, negative 21. This is just numbers. And then bring down the equals x plus 7. Let's go ahead and subtract x from each side. 4x minus 21 equals 7. Add 21 to each side to get 4x equals 28. And then I'm out of paper here. Divide each side by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1, leaving you with 1x equals 28 divided by 4 is 7. So that is when you have variables on both sides, remember first we want to simplify each side first by distributing and combining like terms. And then once it's all simplified, we use our order of operations in reverse. Okay, so that is solving linear equations with variables on both sides.